3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Boys and girls, it is official. We are live now with a actual good sounding mic, which when I upload the other stuff, you'll realize how much better we sound with this.
Up.
Seriously, like I'm gonna upload the other stuff we've done.
I hope not.
So
I'm in big trouble if you upload the other stuff. I was quite risque back then.
Like, This is our fresh start.
Seems so.
You know, it was almost. I think it was good that we recorded on the bad mic to kind of. That was like a forced test,
well,
if you will.
Well, I will be the first to admit there are certain reviews I'm gonna want to re-record, just because I was kind of going through listening to some of them. I was like, this is good stuff, but the mic quality is just.
There's nothing more riveting than the re-record of a review that's probably of like a DVD that we watched.
Yeah.
What can I say? But
coming to you lightning fast with the latest reviews from 13 months after they appeared in theaters.
It'll be in the index.
Yeah, there you go.
The glossary.
Well, we might as well introduce ourselves. I'm Hunter, and
me.
yeah, that'd be you. Your
I'm
turn.
Scott.
And
I'm O'Neill.
there you go. And we are we're talking about Captain America, man. Fucking Winter Soldier. A movie that I wasn't looking forward to at all because I'm not the biggest comic book nerd out of the three of us. And what format did we see this in, gentlemen?
The old IMAX 3D.
IMAX 3D is actually the movie that I saw. The subtitle was Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That IMAX 3D is impressive.
Yeah.
See,
So everything has to be like our review's going to be a little bit biased
yeah,
towards how awesome the way we saw it
Yeah.
was.
That plays a big role.
So just a disclaimer to keep that in mind.
that's a fair point because look, if you're in a big city and you have an IMAX 3D theater, I will just say it is worth the price of admission to go see this in IMAX 3D.
And I'll agree with that right away.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, and we'll post we'll do a Noah review. me and Colin here because that was
no, the reimagining.
but yeah, just absolutely amazing. But so
2 words. Rock monster.
yeah, that's all you have to
that's
say.
all I
That's
need
the
to know.
teaser.
But so going into this, like I said, as
We were all pretty excited going into this
yeah,
one.
but I will admit, out of the three of us, actually probably out of anyone I know, I'm the biggest Marvel fanboy, and so I judge these movies a little more harshly just because I know the source material.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're saying that like
Unless
it's like
you get really giddy about them.
he says that like it's like not obvious when he's wearing a Captain America t-shirt, and he also had the Captain America
Yeah, that's really great.
that I gave him.
That's great to point out.
yeah.
Like the double Captain America already. It's like the Captain America on top of the Captain America.
Listen,
And people were just like, oh, that guy really likes Captain America. Whatever that means.
Yeah, well, I mean, what can I say? I'm a fan of Captain America.
It was great.
Yeah, so
There was a lot of people there. There were some big time fans.
that theater was pretty close
And
to packed.
and it was pretty. And this theater is like brand new, so it's super nice. Like the people behind the counter are wearing like chef's like attire,
Yeah.
with, like the button. I'm like, dude, you're getting popcorn. You don't really need.
I'm telling you, man, Reno, moving on up.
Yeah, there
Got
you go.
luxury IMAXs.
Boom.
They're like, we just want to be like Vegas just a little bit.
Yeah.
So badly
It's
we
like
want to be
just
Vegas.
crawling
Vegas has
up.
like
Come
probably movies that you go on a roller coaster and watch the movie while you go or something.
Yeah.
well, you know,
But Reno's like, no,
You fall
we got
asleep
it.
and they inject it into your dreams.
well, I've been. I mean,
And then you gamble. And
me,
it's great.
me and Colin have been talking quite a bit of shit about Reno as far as like their entertainment because their movie theaters they have here. By the way, oh god, what's that fucking theater, Carl. Not Regal Cinemas. Is it Cinemark? Yeah, it's Cinemark.
Yeah, the one downtown you talking about?
The one by the river. Yeah, fuck that theater. I hate that theater.
Why don't you like that theater?
Because they threw me out for drinking a flat. Drinking
I was with them. I got. You know what?
That doesn't mean it wasn't a nice theater, though. It doesn't really say anything about Reno. It just means that people that work there are dicks.
It also says Hunter is very liberal in the way he pounds strawberries.
Yeah, not to mention that.
And eats to-go food.
Those nachos were delicious, number one, and I have no regrets about that. They threw us out on machete kills. I mean,
exactly.
Really?
It's not like we really were like, do you care? Like, we're one of 3 people that bought tickets in here.
Yeah. And for the record, to security.
Did you ask for your money back?
No, I just walked out. I was like, fuck it. And for the record, to that security guard who didn't throw us out, I left on my own accord. I have to say, I hope you go home to your apartment with nothing but baking soda in your fridge, you fucking piece of shit. Anyways, had to get that out of my system. I'm a little bitter. I'm a little bitter.
R-rated over here.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
Very well done. But
so hide your kids, hide your wife.
Hunter uncensored.
Yeah. So we got all right.
This isn't Facebook's.
So all right. So I gotta get your guys' opinions on this. What were you expecting going into this? Like, did you guys have high expectations? Were you kind of just like, whatever? Like,
I thought it was gonna be good. I don't know why I thought it was gonna be good. To be honest with you, I think the trailers were well done. I really liked it. Like the one trailer I saw was when we were watching Noah, and it was in IMAX.
Yeah.
And the IMAX trailer for Captain America sold me right on the second it played the first part. Because it showed some of these action scenes, and some of these action scenes, oh my god,
yeah,
amazing. I mean, I think that the trailer did a good job. I was pretty excited for it.
Scott,
like they to go off of that, they picked out probably 4, 5, 6 scenes for the trailer, right?
Yeah,
and those are really badass action scenes, but they're not necessarily the best. And that's the great thing, because some movies, they pick out the only the best ones, because that's all they have. This one is just chocked full. It's just that's what I got hooked on, was the trailer going in.
Well, I'll say that I was going in this I had the bar set pretty high, because I love the first Captain America. I love the first Captain America. I think it's pretty close to the first Iron Man. And me and Colin were talking about this last night. The guy who did The Rocketeer, Joe, and I can't remember his last name, it escapes me, but he directed the first Captain America, and it's such a good movie. I think kind of underrated by Marvel standards. But after you get out of the original Captain America, it's well, we're in present times. Now you have this huge canvas to just do whatever you want with, and
almost a build up for this movie, almost.
Yeah, and so I was intrigued with how they were going to approach it, and I gotta say, as far as because what Marvel's put out so far, you have Iron Man 3 as far as Phase 2, and you have Thor: The Dark World, which we'll have to do a review on. I don't care if anyone says I love Iron Man 3. I thought it was a really good, incredibly well done movie. But then Thor: The Dark World, spoiler alert, I was pretty disappointed in, honestly. So I was like, you have one really good movie and one movie that's kind of okay. So this kind of had to break the tie. And I gotta admit, this movie did not only... This is original Iron Man level for me. I walked out of the theater going, wow, you guys did a great job with not only the character, but with the supporting cast, and I love this movie. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I've had a couple hours to think about it and just kind of think about the flaws. I'm just like,
so you're just diving right into the review now.
I have to, because I
like it.
I've been trying to hold back some of my excitement, but so I'll get into the plot real quick. So, according to the synopsis, it takes place a couple years after the Avengers. So Captain America's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and doing espionage missions and stuff like that for them. And without giving too much away, S.H.I.E.L.D. is compromised. And it's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling shit, which is kind of frustrating.
You have to. If someone's into this already, they probably already watched it. Or if you haven't watched it, get ready to know all the intimate details of this movie because we're about to go over it. Because there's no other way to review this.
Like you can't tap dance.
Everything's a spoiler. Really.
So yeah,
but they're not really that big. We won't spoil the real big things.
So spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the movie, you can pretty much just turn off the last 2 minutes. But Captain America he's doing all these missions with Black Widow,
great duo,
played by fine ass Scarlett Johansson. Oh gosh,
they were awesome together.
They played really well off each other, and the first action sequence in the movie, you're like, wow, this is starting off really well. I mean, just from the offset, you're like, oh wow, they've stepped this up. And one thing I have to say right off the bat that I really appreciated, he has not thrown that shield that much in any movie yet. Like, he's throwing that shield.
I like that they made a point of that. This movie, they're like, yeah, in the other movies, the enemies were so huge that he really couldn't utilize like his skills. But he's like, when he's like sneaking through like a ship and picking off people left and right, he just hucks that shield everywhere. And I thought that was like it was like watching him play like Marvel vs. Capcom, and he's just slinging that shield and just like cracking off people's domes, coming right back. And he's like, hey man, that's just what I do. He was like not even a big deal. I loved it.
He could just like do absolutely whatever he wanted with it, which was pretty cool.
One thing I appreciate from the comics that they address is that Cap knows like multiple forms of martial arts, and you see him flipping around and using the shield, and like they kind of touch on that in the Avengers, but they really do kind of bring it to the forefront that, hey, this guy's been training and he knows his shit now, and you're like oh.
Listen, there's a lot of fighting in this movie, pretty much from beginning to end, and like I feel like not one fight was the same. You know what I mean? I feel like that's hard to do, but I feel like the scenarios were right, and like I feel like they choreographed them pretty well.
That's one thing I will touch on. Is that every action scene is borrowed from like another movie. Yeah. You can almost trace back like so many of the action scenes.
Go ahead.
So many of them I was like this is awesome. I mean, this is Bourne Identity, and it's Captain America. Like, what if Captain America was in that scene where he's like in the subway station just being all sneaky and someone's trying to pick him off? I'm like, instead of that, let's have like 20 more dudes and Captain America just fights them all. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Because
he's doing like the total espionage 007 bit, and I loved it. It was great.
One thing I will say for me is, we're already in spoilers, so we might as well just dive head first. Pretty much S.H.I.E.L.D. gets compromised in a way that, if you've read the Winter Soldier comic book storyline, you might see some of this coming, but they do make some twists from what's actually done in the comics, so you're like, oh, so even if you've read the comic, you'll be surprised by some stuff, like, oh wow, really? And I was kind of waiting for a couple things, and there was this one girl, it was great, that when the identity of Winter Soldier was revealed, she went, no! Like, that was her legitimate reaction, and the crowd
completely
laughed.
Quiet in the entire theater.
Yeah.
No.
And I actually looked at Scott here because I kind of knew that scene was coming, and Scott kind of looked on his face like, oh shit. Like, it's a big, like, it's quite a mind fuck when it happens. You're like, oh,
I like how you put it. Like, I knew this scene was coming, but don't take too much.
Well, listen, you pointed out in a couple reviews, like, you wish you weren't such a nerd so you knew stuff was coming. And I was absolutely. Like, I do wish that at points, but that was one thing I was kind of waiting for. I'm like, I want to see everyone's reaction, and that was kind of one of those moments in the movie where you're like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
But I feel like they already explained who he was, and then I feel like you already knew at that point because they told you.
Yeah, I mean, like, they kind of gave you hints throughout the movie before they do the big reveal, but you are like, I mean, it is still quite a gut punch when it happens. You're like, oh, damn, that sucks. And
can I be honest with you?
Go ahead.
I didn't recognize him.
Really?
Like they did the big reveal, and I was like, "Oh, who is he?"
That's because I thought like I don't want, I don't know, it's just too hard to give away stuff.
Go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
I feel like you were expecting is just the Captain America version of that one scientist, right? Like, weren't you expecting that, like, a younger version? Like, I guess you weren't expecting a younger version, but I don't know.
One thing I will say, I mean, I know we're kind of jumping around here, but I know Marvel has made a point to get really good actors and directors to do their movies. Getting Robert Redford to be in one of these movies was a huge coup. Like, whoever...
How awesome was it to see Robert Redford act the hell out of that?
Yeah, like, because listen, like, I mean, we talk about Anthony...
He does a great job.
Yeah, we talk about Anthony Hopkins and Thor. I mean, Oscar-winning Anthony Hopkins, and how it was like, they got him to be Odin. That's amazing. But as much as I love Anthony Hopkins, and if I ever met him, he's a legitimate acting hero of mine. Robert Redford is even higher for me than Anthony Hopkins.
Dude,
and
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, I mean, just off that's alone.
Like the greatest movie.
And you see him, and you're like, oh my god, that's fucking Robert Redford.
Yeah.
Like,
The Natural.
Yeah, and
dude throws a wicked fastball.
And playing the role as, like, as Shakespearean as you could play that role. So, I mean, without giving too much away, it's like, you see him, you're like, oh my god, that's Robert fucking Redford in a Marvel movie, and it
was cool.
It's pretty awe-inspiring, honestly. I mean, off his Oscar nomination too for All Is Lost, like, you kind of marvel, pun intended, at the fact that he's even in this movie, and you get to see him play off Chris Evans and Nick Fury and a couple other people, and you're just like, wow, this guy's taking this seriously, and that made me gain more respect for him. Just the fact that he wasn't sleepwalking through it. Like, he actually was like, alright, I'm in a comic book movie, but I'm gonna put all of the years of experience that I have into this. So I loved him in this. I thought he was amazing. So, comment, go ahead.
Yeah, Jesus wants you to marry him then.
He's aged very well, to his credit. Alright, I would totally
I mean, I don't know what else to say.
He
beautiful.
was dull compared to the rest of the movie, so I feel like he was good in the part that he played, but just compared to what else was going on, I feel like it was like, all right, Robert Redford being old and Robert Redford, I don't know.
See, I thought where his character ended up, I was like, wow. Like, I mean, there's some twists
like
with his character.
This might as well be a M. Night Shyamalan movie, because there's so many twists.
There were a lot of twists in this. You're kind of like, well, I mean, are we talking like M. Night Shyamalan, like Sixth Sense, or are we talking like The Village?
This was Sixth Sense worthy.
Okay, yeah, because
I like Silence too.
I like Silence too. Yeah.
My favorite aspect of this movie, the part that really just like made me love it and just kind of throw it in there with like some of my favorite action movies of all time, was like just like the badass dude, man, and just like the hot, powerful chick that like only really kind of likes the main dude.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, like the crazy European chick that ends up being with Matt Damon in Bourne Identity and all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, this one crushes that one. Because it's Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
And there's so many other ones that follow that same model. And I thought it was really well done. Because Scarlett Johansson is pretty badass. Like,
she really is.
She was good in this. She's not just like super banging. She's also like pretty decent at delivering some like cool lines and stuff. She's pretty good.
I think that because Scarlett Johansson is so attractive, I think there are points where we definitely undervalue her as an actress. Because there's a couple points where
you can't value her as an actress.
Yeah, well, because I think there's points where he's fighting with Winter Soldier and he takes some shots and you're like, damn, like, I mean, he doesn't hold back on her because she's a chick. Like, he's like flat out punches her and you're like, damn, well, shit. I mean, there's some brutal action scenes in this. For PG-13, I was surprised that they pushed the envelope like as much as they did. And the Russo brothers are the people who directed this, who the production credits include Community.
Yeah, and you know who makes a cameo, I won't say, but it's a cast member from Community.
Yeah, and
if anything, go see it just to find out who the cast member is.
I mean, so there's one thing I need to address kind of off the bat. So one reason I was looking forward to this is because Anthony Mackie is an actor I've really liked, and he's a black actor who hasn't been in a Tyler Perry movie, and I've just been kind of waiting for him to get that role where he can go like, hey, this is me acting, give me some credit. He plays Falcon, who, side note, is the first black superhero that Marvel ever did back in, I want to say it's 61, don't hold me to that, but it was in the 60s, I want to say, and he does such a great job playing Falcon. I was like, thank you. It was so nice to see a black superhero that complemented Cap really well and actually ends up having a huge history of Cap. So I was really happy that Anthony Mackie did as well as he did with the role. And that flying suit in IMAX 3D is pretty fucking amazing. I was like, wow.
That's worth the price of admission right there.
It really was.
Just the scenes where they're flying around or you're free falling. I mean, boom. Those are amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I wasn't really buying Scarlett Johansson. Like, I didn't really feel the punch of those lines. I didn't really take her very seriously for some reason. I don't know why.
I thought that it's funny. I bought her more in this than I bought her in the Avengers because I felt like I got to know her a little more in this.
I feel like the most talking wasn't like conversationally like about the plot. I feel like most of them were just like one line. There's a lot of one-liners. I feel.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like whenever like something would happen, like either Scarlett Johansson would be saying something or
Chris Evans.
Yeah, I just feel like I mean, nothing against it. That's a really small criticism, but
no, dude, we're here to criticize.
I thought when she was like at least like not making a joke out of it, which is so easy for her to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
To everything with a wink or everything with like a little grin. Like I feel like she delivered it pretty like straightforward, and she was decent about that. She like made her character not a joke.
Yeah.
And I thought she did a really good job at that. I took her completely serious the whole time.
Well, I mean, she had some stunt work that she put in, while I was like, wow, you put some work into this. And I gotta admit, one of my celebrity crushes, Colby Smulders from How I Met Your Mother. I'll forgive you for that horrible series finale. That's a whole nother podcast. When she pops up, it's like, oh wow, this movie it picked up quite a bit. It's like, okay,
I didn't like her either. I don't know
you
why,
like her really?
Maybe it's
I'll agree more with that one.
Maybe because I don't really like her in How I Met Your Mother. I don't think she's. I don't know. She's just not my. When I saw her, I was like, I don't know what it was about her. I don't know what it is about her.
Just not a fan?
Yeah, I guess I'm just not a fan.
Fair enough. Okay, can we at least agree that...
I would agree more with that one.
Okay.
Can we at least agree
I think she's Robin fucking Sparkles.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Can we at least agree that Nick Fury was awesome? Can we agree on that?
I'll definitely agree with that one.
Because Samuel Jackson is like pushing 60,
mm-hmm.
and there's a car chase scene with him where you're on the edge of your seat. You're like, wow, they are making this like Need for Speed, like underground, like it's some intense shit.
They did have like a real predictable twist with him, like I won't spoil that one. That one's too big.
Yeah.
But like, I remember even when it happened, Hunter was like, "Oh god damn it!" Like in the middle of the theater, and I thought it was great. And I was like, "That's exactly what I was thinking."
I didn't even hear you do that.
Well, I mean, so one thing I do have to give this movie a lot of credit for is people have criticized Iron Man 3 for the twist with the Mandarin. No spoiler on that, but if you've seen it, you know the twist. In Thor: The Dark World, it's kind of like the villain was defeated before he even showed up on screen. This movie, though, Winter Soldier, the best comparison, and I was thinking about through the movie, is the T-1000 from Terminator 2, because he just seems fucking indestructible as you're watching him. It's like, he just can't be stopped. And for the first time in probably a Marvel movie in a while, I felt a legitimate threat, I was kind of like, dude, Cap could actually like lose in the end of this, and especially when you find out the backstory of Winter Soldier, it's like the stakes have been raised in this. So I was pretty impressed with the direction they went, and I was like, okay.
You know what I really liked about the fight scenes was I feel like in movies they stress on, oh, okay, this guy's gonna win this part, and then it goes back to the other side, and it goes back to the other. Like some movies really just really cookie cutter about it. Like you can just tell, oh, and then he's gonna fall back, he's gonna do bad, and then now he's gonna do good. I feel like that's what I appreciate about the fight scenes is like either Cap was just like whooping some ass, he was doing it, like he didn't like fuck around about it. So I don't know, I just kind of like that he would just like just wreck.
Oh, and I love the Star Wars-esque fight scene in the big like edge of the helipad or whatever it was, helicarrier, and they're just fighting on top of the glass and stuff, and they're like, there's all these layers, and it was like, it kept making me think of like 007 GoldenEye.
Good analogy.
When they're fighting on that satellite dish thingy at the very end, and it was like, oh, like edge of your, like every kick you're gonna fall to your death, and every time you're cringing every time. It was great. I mean, that was awesome. I love that one. One
thing I will say about this movie is the fight scenes felt brutal. Every single fight scene, you're like, oh wow, this is. And the first time that Captain America meets the Winter Soldier, you are just like, wow, this is some brutal like shit. I mean, there's a point where the Winter Soldier pulls out a knife, and it's just this hand-to-hand combat, and I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my god, this is. Like, whoever did the stunt coordination on this deserves
that was incredible. For that first fight when he just goes hand to hand, like you're saying, that was a great scene.
I mean, I was, and okay, so I do have a couple complaints about this because I know we're just praising the shit out of this movie. So, oh god, I'm gonna fuck such a dick. I can't remember her name. Emily Van Camp, I want to say is her name. She's the girl who stars in Revenge. Super hot, by the way. She plays Agent 13, who is Peggy Carter. Girl? She's Peggy Carter, for the girl from first Captain America. She's her granddaughter. They kind of like address her, but they do nothing with her. And I was kind of like, well, you had her and you just did nothing. And I was like, that's kind of irritating. And then
that character was pretty weak.
Yeah, like they just. She's.
I feel like they substitute. They feel like they substituted more action scenes for what they could have done with it.
Yeah, like that's a big complaint, and honestly,
if anything, that was just wasted time. Just kick her out of the like make the movie shorter and get all of her parts out of there.
I mean, maybe she'll
That's a really good point, actually.
I mean, maybe she'll be more of a force in Captain America 3, and then, again, spoiler, but if you read the comics, you know that she ends up playing a pretty vital role in Cap's life, but I was kind of disappointed that they addressed her, and then just kind of went, like, whatever.
Do you think they're setting her up for later, though?
I hope so, because she's a really interesting character, but I was disappointed that they addressed her, and then just kind of went, whatever, and then pushed her to the side, so... I was a little disappointed in that. And then I will say, probably about halfway through the movie, the plot kind of picks up in a way that you need to be, like, wide awake to kind of pay attention. Like, as far as... Because it kind of throws, like, a lot of stuff at you. So if you're, like, even, like, not paying attention even a little bit, you might miss some stuff that has some emotional impact. So... But honestly, those are my only couple complaints.
You know what? There's a lot of great scenes in this movie that are not action related. I thought the scene with him at the bedside of his like ex girl, and she has like dementia now, or like you know, she like forgot who he was, and then all of a sudden like remembered, and then like went through the entire emotional process of like re-seeing him. No, but you know what I mean? Like I thought, dude, some of these scenes are like pretty good, like well done.
Absolutely. And what's the bad dude's name?
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. Oh yeah, I guess that's probably the name of the movie, huh?
Yeah.
Which I thought Winter Soldier was just something describing Captain America going into the movie.
Oh really?
And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier. That's how I remember this movie, because that dude was crazy.
Yes, he was.
I feel like because kind
Crazy,
of going
dude.
off like the non-fighting scenes, the scenes of them together, like they have great chemistry. I feel like
They do.
and just I don't know, that relationship.
What
was just like really interesting.
One thing I will say about this movie is I feel like this was almost like, and I don't know how Marvel's playing this, but I feel like this was legitimate competition with Iron Man because look, I mean, I think Iron Man is the most famous person in as far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, Chris Evans, he's the Human Torch from those horrible Fantastic Four movies, but after watching this, it's like you can't debate the fact that he deserves to be Captain America, and I was impressed as hell every time he was on screen.
Can I just say, I just thought of real quick.
Go ahead.
There's a great slow-mo scene in this movie.
Yes, there is.
And like,
yeah,
it's so much better in 3D IMAX, probably.
Yeah.
But like, it was
They use
mind-blowing.
They use like the directors, these Russo guys or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like they use slow mo so much better than Zack Snyder.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Who just abuses it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they really just have like a few scenes where
there's not that really isn't that many. Yeah.
But the ones they choose to do it on in 3D, it's like there's just
kind of
stuff
a pivotal
floating,
scene,
or it's just like something
huge,
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing I will say is that every action scene, and this is something that hasn't really been true for a lot of Marvel movies, every action scene feels different. It feels intense as hell. There's a scene in the trailer that you see, the second trailer, where Captain America's in this elevator, and it is an intense fucking scene. Like, you watch it, you're like, oh my god. Like, Captain America has like 15 guys jump him, and you're just like, this is tense, and I don't know how this is going to end. And the action scenes were so well done. I don't want to, like, downplay it, but I was really surprised, to be perfectly honest with you. I was like, wow, these action scenes, whoever wrote these out, clearly thought them out very well. And I think Scott said it. Each one didn't feel the same. They each felt different. You're like,
And I thought probably the most impressive thing in the entire movie was the special effects.
yeah.
It was all just fluid, flawless.
And
You
when
never
flashback to him being a young kid,
Mhm.
that was CGI did was really well done.
Yeah.
I agree.
And we do have to address this. If you're a Marvel fan and you've seen all these movies, you know that there's a secret ending after the credits, and the end credit scene is, if you've read the comics,
freaking out.
If you've read the comics, you know how important it is.
Let me just say,
go ahead.
Sitting next
Oh yeah.
to Hunter
Yeah.
during a movie like this is just an entertainment experience.
You
in its own
jumped
right.
probably like 50 plus times during that movie.
Anytime there was any minute
Which was like
or
every
big time
10
reveal,
seconds.
like any like minor twist
Yes.
or reveal in the movie, Hunter's like, oh, no, oh, what? Or like, oh, I knew that. Or the best one was the one with Nick Frost, his one, and you're like, oh god damn it!
You mean Nick Fury and Nick Frost?
Yeah, Nick Frost, whatever.
I wish Nick Frost played Nick Fury.
The Sam Jackson dude with the one eye. I clearly was paying attention.
Yeah.
What do you think? You want to get some grades in or what?
Yeah, like, we haven't given one of these yet. So if in case you don't know our rating, we might as well catch you up. So our lowest rating is go fuck yourself, and then it goes F, and then up the letter grades, A+, and then a fan fucking tastic. This was on the level of Iron Man for me. I was really sitting there. I was like, what can I pick apart to really be like, this is bad? But the dialogue was crisp. It had a good amount of humor, but it didn't feel like the last Thor movie where it was like hokey, where they're just like inserting jokes just for the sake of doing it. It was tense the whole time. Like when consequences happened, I was like, oh my god, this is some dark shit, all things considered. I have to give this our highest rating. I gotta give it a fan fucking tastic. I'll probably go see this on Sunday. I mean, we're recording this on a Friday. I'll probably go see this again Sunday just because I love it that much. I don't want to say surprised, but I was inspired by how good this was. And I will say they showed a trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy before this movie came out. And look, if you say you know about Guardians of the Galaxy, you're a fucking liar. Because no one knows about Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm a nerd and I don't know about Guardians of the Galaxy. But seeing the trailer in IMAX 3D, I was like, yeah, I'll go see this opening night. So, yeah, fan-fucking-tastic for me. Our highest rating. I thought this was amazing. So, Scott?
I've been burned before going into movies like with really high expectations, and I've been burned a lot. It was like, oh man, that didn't like reach my sky-high expectations of it. But this one, like probably went beyond, I think, because I had high expectations for it, but like I hadn't seen IMAX in a while, so in like probably 10 years or so. But so that played into it a lot, but it was. So, do we go A+ fantastic or A?
Fan-fucking-tastic is our highest rating.
Is that after A+ or after A?
That's after an A+.
Okay. See, I was kind of debating this because, okay, it's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it's the coolest movie I've ever seen. Okay. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I was thinking about that when I left. I was like, that's the coolest movie probably that I've seen so far. Okay. Like, just the effects and like, I don't know. It's hard not to say it's not my favorite. Like,
I feel like you're at odds with yourself. Like, I feel like you're almost having like an internal conversation on.
I loved it. I would give it A+.
A+. Yeah. All right, that's a good rating. Colin, my friend.
I loved it. I keep thinking about it, and I'm trying to think of things to like criticize about it, and I'm just forcing it here.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Rating.
I mean, the biggest criticism I could give to it was that it just reminded me of all these great scenes in other action movies that I love, and I'm like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
at least you're redoing it in an amazing way, and I have to say there has to be like an asterisk next to my review and probably all of ours, just the fact that we saw it in IMAX 3D.
Sure.
If you don't see it in IMAX 3D, then none of these reviews will apply to you.
I think maybe
to a certain extent.
In 3D, I probably just regular 3D.
Regular 3D definitely, and on a big enough screen.
But still.
But in any case, I loved it. I thought it was just like it was more than a movie. It was like a big time, like, loud ass IMAX thing.
All right, rating. Go ahead.
I'd probably put it at A+.
A+.
Yeah.
All right. So not quite a fan-fucking-tastic, but still an A+. So
listen, I haven't given. This is probably, I don't know, the second or third thing I've ever given an A to. So that says something about like my voting. I'm pretty critical sometimes.
Okay, so I gotta point this out. The end credits scene.
That's what I was thinking about. I was like, I can't give it a lower grade than Scott did. Scott always has the lowest grade.
That's true.
And I was like,
dude, I surprise you guys.
I was like, I'll at least do it an A+.
I surprise you guys sometimes. Like, oh well, I thought you were gonna hate that.
So we do have to say this: if you're not a Marvel fan, you have to stay after the end credits. And without spoiling anything too much, the end credits scene has so much more relevance than if you're a casual nerd. Then and Colin and Scott will attest to this, I was sitting in my seat freaking the fuck out because I'm like, oh my god, I know what this is setting up, and god damn it, I wish I could just spill, but I don't want to be a dick and just ruin the plot for you guys. So you have to understand, there's good things coming. Like, without spoiling too much, this will tie directly into Avengers 2. Bless you. That's the best I can give. Bless you again.
Great radio.
I mean,
that's what you pay me the big bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, so stay after the credits for yourself. Stay after the credits. It's a really good scene to set up, and
and then call Hunter's number immediately. It's 775.
Hey, watch it. But yeah, this movie was amazing. I'll probably go see it again on Sunday. And I think we'll have a review for Bad Words coming up here in the next couple days.
I hope so.
I want to go see that. So, yeah, hit the subscribe button because all the cool kids are doing it on SoundCloud.
Even Hunter.
Yeah, even me. So, yeah, click on that button and keep subscribing to us. We'll keep giving you good stuff.
Peace.
Right. Have a good night.
Later.